Hello and welcome to the Long Island weekend, or Saturday night weather up report here. And yeah, very messy evening. You can see this huge storm system, severe weather in the south, all that moisture there getting tapped out from the Gulf. It's going to be brought into our area overnight into tomorrow. Looking at the radar, you can see we started off with snow and maybe we got an inch before it changed over. And now it's just very slushy and wet out there. I have a video of what it was like. I did go out because I had to, because I don't know about tomorrow. Tomorrow might be worse with the rain. You can see, look at this line of, oh my gosh, yeah, look at this line of thunderstorms here. Wow, what a line that goes. Look at all that. That goes all the way down from Kentucky, all the way down to almost the central Louisiana. That's a major squall line. You can see your warm sector right here. And then we're north and east, the snow. Let's go look at our observations. And first of all, you look on this map and you see all these warnings going on. High wind warnings are going to be issued now. To the north, we got winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories, flash flood warnings and flood advisories, and a couple of tornado warnings too in here as well, on the map as well in the mix. So really unusual for the winter to see this. You can see the really warm air that's in this warm sector. Very warm, humid air, dew points in the 60s, temperatures near 70, which is really, and then look at how far north it's making it up to. You can see we've got a couple of tornado warnings here, a couple of tornado warnings here. So if we go to the Storm Prediction Center, just to give you an idea of what the kind of energy we're going to have tomorrow, you can see they've put that whole area in a enhanced risk with a tornado watch, a big tornado watch right there. So that's really it's quite something to see in February. And if we go to tomorrow, yeah, that marginal risk creeps close to us. I wouldn't be surprised if they push that up a little bit further to the north. We shouldn't even be looking at these maps in the winter. We shouldn't even be looking at them, all right? But we are. Looking at the weather map, you can see this big mess of a system that we have that's got pretty much everything. Snow, ice, severe weather, wind, anything, you name it, it's got it. This is a pretty bad storm, and if I move this over to the lightning, probably see all the lightning that's going on in here. Yeah, quite a bit of lightning there. That stretches all the way north into Kentucky. That's quite a bit there. It's unusual to see this for sure. Very unusual to see this. I'm going to just make the progression to this a little bit, so you can get a little bit of look what it looked like during the day, a little bit. You can see how it's flared up tonight. So if we look at the lightning detection here, you'll see all the lightning going on. My gosh, that's insanity. It's February, all right? This is not normal at all. Not normal at all to see this much. So this is what we have to worry about for tomorrow. Let's look at our statistics right now for the day. Oops, that's the wrong one. We have one local storm report here. Snow of 2 inches in Orange County. Okay, so some snow falls mainly to the north. Let's look at our ice climatological report. High of 35, a low of 24. 3 degrees below normal for the day. Again, if we pan this off to the southwest, you can see all these flash flood warnings in effect here. And also as we go, we're going to keep going southwest here. And that's a little too in the wrong spot here. We're going to go over here, just show you what's going on here, show you some of these radars of the severe weather that we have here. Look at this line. Here you go. I just wanted to show you what this looks like here. That's quite a line right there. And you can see some severe thunderstorm warnings. And again, some tornado warnings too in there as well. So I think we panel it off to the north and the west, it will show us some of the tornado warnings. Really just a major line that's really a bad situation. And if we go over here and we look at the rainfall reports, and you can see, look at the difference in temperatures between both sides of the front. So you know, ahead of the front, it's 70 degrees, dew point 63. Behind it, temperature is 41, not that far behind it, with a north wind. So this is the kind of energy you have, a very sharp cold front, and that's why we're having tornadoes. If we take a look and see how many tornadoes occurred today, let's see how many occurred today. We've had no tornadoes reported as of yet, but there could definitely be some for sure. So let's look at the amount of precipitation that has fallen in this area too. This is another thing, and that's why they've got these flood. Yeah, this is a lot of rain. 5 inches in some of these spots. Tremendous amounts of rain. Tremendous amounts of rain. So this is the kind of moisture that's heading our way for tomorrow. So as far as our area goes, not a whole lot of rain yet. We've only gotten maybe 0.20 of liquid equivalent, though it's amazing how bad the flooding was in Mineola. You'll see in the video. It's just, I tried, but my feet, even with like high shoes, my feet get wet. It's like there's so much flooding here. Everything is just nowhere for the water to go because there's no drainage. High pressure, let's look at the highs for the day. See, they're not going to be that remarkable. Come on. Highs, mid-30s, mid to upper 30s generally, and the lows, 21 at West Hampton, otherwise just mid-20s everywhere else. Now, if you look here, you'll see we've got a high wind watch in effect. That's probably going to be a high wind warning Sunday evening through Monday afternoon, and a high wind warning has already been issued by Mount Holly from 10 a.m. Sunday to 6 p.m. on Monday. So we're going to have an extended period of some strong winds to deal with this storm. So let's get to it. So obviously, here's our storm here on the, go to the eastern U.S. view here. Here's our storm, and you can see it just deepens. It races toward the Great Lakes. We get into the warm sector. Though it might take a little time. And then we have the threat of some thunderstorms with the cold front. But you can see, according to this, it's going to be raining most of the day. If we look at this. And then behind it, for Monday, we've got to deal with still strong winds because look at how tight those isobars are. So let's go and look at the HRRR. Here's the HRRR that we have. And you'll see it's mostly stratiform rain tonight. But then as that warm sector moves in, we start seeing, like around in the morning, start seeing more of a showery type of, convective type of showers, and possibly a thunderstorm here. There's a little bit of a break, and then the cold front comes through. 2 o'clock, perhaps 3 o'clock. It's not really showing a line, but it could be a line there, probably 3 o'clock. A little bit of a break, and then there could be another line that develops behind that. And then finally, it exits. And then we see these strong winds for Monday. Look at how tight those isobars are. Story this whole winter with the wind. And we're going to get more of it tomorrow. So let's look at the dew points and wind flow here. And you'll see here that cold air hangs on a little bit. So that's why there's concern about icing up to the north. But in our area, we're just going to be dealing with rain, temperatures above freezing, and the LLJ that comes on in. Probably, it looks like, doesn't really bring the warm sector in until probably 1 or 2 o'clock. And then the temperatures rise. You can see the south wind, the dew points rise. And then behind it, as we head into Monday, the cold air moves in. And we have a very strong west wind, though. Again, I'm hesitant to call it Arctic air because the air isn't really, these dew points aren't all that low. So I'm kind of hesitant to call it that. Temperatures for Sunday, for tonight, obviously, they're just going to be holding steady and rising probably. And then look what happens tomorrow. So it can be in the 60s in Jersey, but we may still only be in the 40s and 50s because they're in the. It's going to take a little while for that warm sector to move. And with that southerly wind off the ocean, it generally keeps Long Island cooler. Jersey is going to just rotate. That's what's going to provide the energy for the severe weather. The question is, once it hits that marine weather air, does it, that sea breeze, does it break up or not? That's the question. And then tomorrow night, you can see the winds drop. The temperatures drop, not the winds. The temperatures will drop behind that front to the 30s, and then by Monday morning, we're in the 20s, and then struggling to make it above 30 on Monday, according to the HRRR. This might be a little underdone with the temperatures. So let's look at this LLJ that we are going to have featured tomorrow here. So this is the LLJ. I'm not going to deal with it yet, But we are going to start dealing with it as we head into the afternoon tomorrow. And you can see some of the strongest parts of that LLJ go over eastern Suffolk County. That is where you could have some really strong winds. And then even behind it, we're still going to be dealing with a pretty strong gradient wind. But as far as the threat for severe weather, that's with that LLJ tomorrow afternoon. This is what it looks like on the HRRR. Let's switch now to a different model. We're going to go to the NAM. Go to the NAM 3. This is the NAM 3 showing the LLJ. So you can get an idea of when that LLJ comes through. And then the winds go to the west by the afternoon, and the front's coming through. All right. Let's look at how this all handles the precipitation that we are going to have. All right. So obviously, it's rain for now. All right, so we're not going to deal with any more snow here on Long Island. Rain, it could be heavy at times, and another batch of rain, probably right ahead of that warm front. Maybe it could even be a thunderstorm with that, or a heavy shower late morning. Then we warm sector. The NAM's a little different with the timing. Well, it seems like it's a little fast now. It brings that second batch of rain in right around 2 and 3, so it seems to be an agreement on that. The question is it going to linger around, or is it going to push away? That is the question. So right now the NAM's doesn't really cut the precipitation off until like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, which might be a little on the late side. But you can see there, it definitely does try to form a line. You can see that now. If we look at the amount of total rainfall that we're going to have here, NAM, again, 1 to 2 inches, I think, is a good bet. Heaviest out east, it looks like, on the NAM. If we go to the HRRR, precipitation, again, that 1 to 2 inches, and the heaviest could be out east and on the Jersey Shore. That's what it's looking like right now, according to this. So this will definitely put a good dent in the drought, I think, when that next drought monitor comes out. But yeah, this is what we're dealing with right now. So we're going to be dealing with some rain, and we're getting into that warm sector. Let's look at the NAM as far as what that warm sector looks like on the NAM. Similar to the HRRR, maybe not quite as amplified. Let's go to the HDRPS, the other model that we'll look at today, and see how that handles the warm front. Similar to the HRRR, I guess, but let's go and look at the precipitation. So here's the HDRPS. Again, it just keeps the rain going. Another heavy batch, and a little bit of a break, and then another batch in the afternoon. These could be thunderstorms here. So these could be thunderstorms, and again, it kind of has it lingering around until like 7 or 8 o'clock at night, so room pretty much the whole day. If these cells are a little smaller, then it's kind of hard to tell right now how big these cells are going to be. But again, some of these could be severe. And again, you see that V in the isobars there. And then we got the wind for Monday. All right. So let's look at some of the other models here. Vent2 Sky, we're going to go to that and kind of visualize the winds as we head into tomorrow, because that is obviously the big concern here that we're going to have. And you clearly see what's going on here at 11 o'clock. We're not in the LLJ yet. We got an east wind. One front is kind of stuck to the south. They're in Toms River. And as we get to 2 o'clock, you can see how it's starting to creep north. Still getting held up a little bit here. This is the HRRR. So you can still see there's a little bit of this warm front is having trouble making it north. And then finally, by 4 o'clock, the warm front surges through and the temperatures rise. And you can see, 60s in Jersey probably tomorrow, and 50s for us. So it's going to get pretty damn warm. And it's going to be humid too, of course. So you're going to be dealing with some pretty high humidity. And you can see that LLJ right there. So at 6 o'clock, we're still in the LLJ. So as long as we're still in the warm air, then the precipitation is going to be over until we get into the drier air. So that's the question. You're timing it all out. Let's go to look at wind gusts here, because this is worrying. All right, so here we are. It's not so bad. 1 o'clock, all right. Warm front hasn't come through yet. But as we get toward 3 o'clock, here we go. If you're in Toms River, you're going to get some very gusty winds ahead of that LLJ right around 3 o'clock. Long Island still only in the cool air right now. So with that kind of setup, that's a lot of advection right there with that warm front there. So that's why I'm thinking that there may not be a break in the precipitation tomorrow, and it may just be continuous all day long. or there'll be sucky drizzle, at least until the warm front comes through. Once the warm front comes through, the wind shift to the south, and we have some pretty strong wind gusts. And you can see offshore is showing some 70-mile-an-hour gusts. That could be in a thunderstorm, perhaps. And then as we head into the 6 o'clock hour, you can see the LLJ right here. And again, this is a really threatening-looking setup here. And you can see the strong winds also to the west, too, as well, with the actual front that are coming through. So that's like a good squeeze play right around 6 o'clock. It could be something severe in there. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts right at the front. So that's why we got the high wind warning. I think we're going to need it tomorrow. And even it remains windy through the night, even after 11 o'clock. And winds are still gusting into the 40s, all right, according to this. Now, I'm going to put this to the wind speed here. This is, again, the HRRR model. And we're going to go above the ground just to kind of visualize the... we'll first go to... Let's do 1,600 feet. Yeah, this is a good... oh, my God, look at this. So look at this. This is actually pretty interesting. So right above the surface... there's going to be a roaring LLJ. Well, we're not going to actually deal with it at first before it gets scoured out. And then that kind of moves in, and you can see, look at how strong these gusts are aloft. Very strong winds aloft here. So this is a pretty strong LLJ. And then if I go to 850, these 850 winds are really scary. So any shower or thunderstorm could bring these wind gusts down to the surface. That's why I think there's a potential for severe weather. They should have really put us in a marginal risk. Look at that, 99. This is above the surface at 5,000 feet, but still very strong winds. And there could be some scattered power outages as a result of that. So these winds are nothing to play around with. And when we look at the Cape as well, because we did see when we ran this yesterday some Cape. There's the Cape over New Jersey, and it doesn't seem to move it over us. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we do get some severe thunderstorm warnings tomorrow. In fact, I fully expect that we will. So let's, and then we can also go, let's look at the actual wind speed here. So it kind of gives you an idea of where that LLJ is again, where it all sets up, how it moves in, how fast it moves in. You can see how it just surges in once it gets through and overwhelms the cold air at the surface. And then behind it, we're not done with the wind yet, because then we got to deal with the wind as we head into Monday. So that's why the high wind warning is going to go until Monday, because here's our wind gusts here, 40s and 6 a.m. Look at this. We still have gusts 50 miles an hour at 6 a.m., over 50. And then still dealing with very windy conditions throughout your Monday. And maybe it dies down a little bit in the afternoon, a gust near 40, but it's going to be extremely windy on Monday. And as far as the sky goes, I'm not so sure we're going to have a sunny day that day. We'll see. I have my doubts. With all that wind, that usually indicates a cyclonic flow and lots of stratocumulus, and honestly, not a really good day to be walking around anyway outside with winds like that. So let's go to the windy.com model, the other one, the European model, and we'll see how that's going to visualize tomorrow's LLJ as well. Oh, and the other thing, I'm concerned about coastal flooding too, because those winds are going to rip up the water too. Yeah, look at this. We're going to have some, 14-foot of waves. So again, that LLJ, that's going to kick up the ocean too. So that's why we probably have a small craft advisory in effect, or gale warnings probably. Yeah, gale warning. So that's the other thing. We go to wind, and we go to, so these are these sustained winds, but we'll go to the gusts. But you see how strong those sustained winds are. But we're going to go to the gusts. Let's go to that. Change this to the gusts. This is frightening, man. Okay, this is bad. So this is the European model now, right? So you can see here these wind gusts 50s. So this is really a very strong LLJ, damaging LLJ that's going to come through. And again, gusts over 60, totally possible with this. That's why the high wind warning is there. I'm most worried about the LLJ than behind the front. Behind the front, it'll be windy, but the LLJ is going to be where I think the highest wind gusts are going to occur. It's still going to be windy. Even behind the front, though, we have some strong wind gusts here occurring. Monday morning, gusts almost 60 miles an hour over Suffolk County. And then still windy all day long. Gusts near 50. And again, if we look at the clouds, this is showing plenty of clouds. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So, fortunately, it won't be sunny. But we will have that temperature drop, so keep that in mind. So again, if we look at the temperature for tomorrow, you'll see how warm it gets. The European really does surge that warm front through pretty easily here, and you can see how the temperatures are going to soar behind that. And if I change this to precipitation, we'll see. Let's still look at kind of show where the thunderstorms. Ours isn't really the best. You can see it really doesn't cut it off until late. It still has it kind of going. So I have to see what happens at the timing. It's always hard to nail down the exact timing, but generally, you're not really going to be safe from precipitation until probably after 7 o'clock tomorrow. Let's go back to the wind gusts because I'm going to look at a few more things here, and that is, it shows the HDRPS too. Let's use this one. So this is the HDRPS here, so it's kind of interesting here. And then the NAM, which is the NAM one is always the one that's really scary. The NAM kind of shows it's a little interesting, different, a little bit of a different dynamic with these. Kind of keeps the worst of LLJ. See how the NAM wants to like be slower with bringing the LLJ in, and therefore we would avoid the worst of it if the NAM was right. The worst of it would go off to the east. So, yeah, if you're at Montauk, you're going to get a 62-mile-an-hour wind gust. And east of there, could be even higher than that. The HDRPS, similar idea, I think. No, the HDRPS surges that warm front through, too. But I don't know. I'm not buying the wind field on that. I think the European is generally going to be what we're going to be seeing. So, get ready for more stormy weather for tomorrow. And more rain. So we're going to be seeing more rain. And let's just look at the Europeans' rainfall. Rain accumulation. I guess that would be rainfall. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look at this. Start this here and go up to here. So, yeah, we're going to see, like I said, between 1.5, probably between 1.5 to 2 inches on Long Island and in Jersey. Probably 1 to 1.5 inches of liquid. So this should put a dent in the drought, but it's going to be stormy. And the thunderstorm threat, well, we have this little gauge too, which we can use as well, and see if we see any. It does not really showing a few, but again, I think we could see some thunderstorms tomorrow. So yeah, it's going to be stormy, and let's see. I think they have a briefing on this, but they're mostly concerned with the winter weather aspect of it. I'm more concerned with the winds. For tomorrow. They're not even bringing that up here. Typical. So wind tomorrow is going to be a big issue, the LLJ, and then we're still going to be dealing with wind into Monday. So anyway, have a good night.